Peace and blessings. Grand rising. Grand ascension, all that good stuff. Today is November the 18th. 1 and 8 being knowledge and build and destroy. 1 plus 8 being 9, which is born to make manifest. So today the knowledge is telling us that we must be knowledgeable. That is, we must know what we're doing when we are building or destroying. If you were paying attention to yesterday's degree, it was the 17th, which is the knowledge of God's self, equals 8, which is build and destroy. So by knowing who you are, knowing your own powers, you know that you are a creator, and that everything we do either builds or destroys. There is no in between. There is no just blah. You are either building or you are destroying. Now today, with the knowledge of knowing that you are either building or destroying, we must now be conscious of what we make manifest out of what we build or destroy. Like, what is the result of that building or that destruction? And that result would be born, which is manifest, which is the number 9, which is to bring into being from the ethers, which is why the 9 is a spiral and the tail is down, because it's from the ethers down. Even more specifically, from imagination to the ethers down. Just in my opinion, that's not what the math says. That's just, you're always going to get a little bit of what I think on top of it. Otherwise, what am I doing here? So 1 plus 8 equals 9. 9 is a magical number. It is the number of manifest, which lets you know that when you make manifest anything, you can always see the attributes of what that thing was, if that makes sense. Like, for example, if we were to build and make our wisdom made manifest, wisdom and born is 2 and 9. 2 and 9 is 11, which is 1 and 1, which is knowledge, knowing that you know what you know, or knowing what you don't know. But that 1 and 1 is still just 2, which is wisdom, which is the application of the knowledge. But what knowledge? The knowledge that you know or the knowledge that you don't know? The lack of knowledge. So again, the 9 would just make us have to look at the 2 in simpler terms, or more complex, really, like simpler as far as lower integers. So the actual, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, freedom, the lower it is, the more simple the concept. Like I said, these are just natural processes in nature. Like, the first thing you do is you know. Once you know, you exercise wisdom, or you don't, and you're foolish. Once you do that and you thought you knew, or you knew, and then you was either foolish or wise, you get a level of understanding of what you did and why you did it and how it worked and all of that stuff. That's understanding. And then from there we move on to culture, which is a way of life, because after you're making all of these mistakes, you're either choosing the right path, left path, or middle path. That's right path being the path of severity, the left path being the path of, the right path being the path of mercy, the left path being the path of severity, and the middle path being the path of ascension, where we are attempting to balance the outer 2 paths. But back on the actual math of what today is saying. 1 and 8, 18, is all born to 9, which is born. Or our shows improve 9. That means the knowledge of what, to know that we are building or destroying, is to know what we're creating, what we are making manifest, what we are born. Because, like, it all begins in your mind, right? And it's way easier said than done to think positively and to know and be conscious. And this is a full-time job. It does not end, which is why to build and destroy is the 8, which is infinite. Because even when you're not trying, when it's Monday and the job is tiring, and then you come home to your kids who are also just as worrisome, you come in and you give them attitude or shortness, you're still destroying something, and you're building something. You're building a perception of yourself that makes it for your kids to hard to approach you when they know you had a bad day, or you're destroying the happiness they had from seeing you when you first came in the door, because they're like, oh, hey, how are you? And you're like, get out my face. Or even simply when your child is sad, and I don't mean to always take it to children, but I am a dad. When your child is sad, whether you're in there like, don't be sad, or you're like hugging, loving, come talk to me, let's know, let's figure out what's going on so we can build on this. Again, you're building or destroying. I myself have been, unfortunately, dipping too far into the tobacco spectrum. So I'm trying to cut that myself. And I know what tobacco destroys. I also happen to know what it builds. And unfortunately, I'm not a farmer, so I can't grow my own tobacco or my own weed or my own tomatoes. I mean, I could. I don't have land for it. I mean, we have family land, but still. Life is about choices, man. And that's what this is saying. The math for today is saying life is about choices. Knowledge of building, or like you are perpetually either building or destroying, period. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter what you think, no matter whether you turn right or left, you are building or destroying. Sometimes, like I say, you are building and destroying, because everything is dualistic in nature. So to build one side of it is to destroy the other side of it. Or to build up on one side is to destroy the balance of it. Or to destroy one side of it is to generate the balance of it. However you want to look at it. But all of this makes manifest. Your consequences, your choices have real consequences that show up. And the choice is being building or destroying, and the consequences being what you make manifest or born. Again, this system of numbers, as far as I was introduced into it, came from the Nation of Islam. Really came from the Nation of Gods and Earths, which came from the Nation of Islam, which came from Muslims. So it's all bastardized versions of itself. And even in Jewish Kabbalah, there's 1 through 10 with the hidden 11. These are really just natural processes in nature, especially for the sentient being, the upright thinking being. Non itself, or make manifest or born, is also being, like just to be. I don't know. That's it. I feel like this was a really long one. 8 minutes, 9 minutes now. Y'all like, subscribe, more to come. I'm not going to only do the math. I'm also going to eventually get into the alphabet. And I'm just trying to build, man. If you're trying to build too, whether you want to be on the platform or on the YouTube channel, or to have a dialogue, maybe you know what's going on, maybe you don't. Either way, let's build. Even if your idea of building would be what I call destroying, or vice versa, let's make manifest this world that we so wish to see. Like they say, be the change that you want to see in the world. Be righteous. But of course, my righteousness is then with the W-R-T-E, as in righteous, as in whatever, righteous. Poor Righteous Teachings. PoorRighteousTeachings.com, Store Frontier, /Poor Righteous Teachings. Poor Righteous Teachings on IG, P_W_Teachings on Twitter. I really don't be up there though. Rastafari on Snapchat. Couldn't change my Snapchat once I created this brand. But even that name of Rast, as in Rasta, as in Rastafari, but then throwing Allah, and then Rast, Allah Far I, the I is EYE, just like in the Supreme alphabet. We'll get to that, of how each letter in the English alphabet means a certain character. But the point of me wanting to do the numbers is because numbers are universal, especially base 10, which is what we use is for the supreme mathematics, which is 1 through 9 and 0, or 0 and 1 through 9, however you want to look at it, whether you want the cipher to be the beginning or the end in your own representation. But truth of the matter is, the cipher is everything. When the supreme mathematics were first taught, there was no 0 for cipher. It was just 1 through 9, and then the cipher was everything. And it was one of the jewels that you learned later, along with like how we say culture and freedom. It was just culture, and then freedom was a jewel. And then power and refinement, it was just power, and then refinement was a jewel. And then build and destroy to them was not simultaneous. It was not the yin and the yang of one process. It is to them a choice of whether or not you are building and destroying. And to that I kind of agree, because you do get to choose, once you are knowledgeable, once you have the knowledge of building and destroying, the knowledge of God's self, that brings you to know that you are building and destroying. You have to make a choice of, the right path, left path, or middle path. I really am trying my best to pick the middle path and not lean too far on the love and light. But of course, only working with the shadows to work through the shadows, because there's power in everything, and you really gotta watch what you do, what you say, and all of that. That's what the math is telling us. And like I said, the degrees go higher. I don't know, because unfortunately with the calendar and dealing with months or those fake moons on the Gregorian calendar, we only gonna go up to 31, which there's a 99th degree. That's those numbers exist together, and then strings of numbers that would all correlate. But again, like I say, in numerology, you always simplify it, so you always come back to one digit anyway. But the simplification of 1, 2, and 3. So that is the Holy Trinity. That is knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? But when you simplify it, 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6. This is equality. So when you have knowledge and wisdom and understanding, that means you know better, you do better, and you understand why you do better. You have no choice but to practice equality with yourself, with others. That's just the way it works. So 6 is the same as 1, 2, and 3. It's the same as 2 and 4. It's the same as 3 and 3. It's the same as 5 and 1. These are how the numbers play and flip and flop, and they all saying the same thing, but giving you a new way to look at it, a deeper or different, not even deeper sometimes, but just a different perspective on the aspects of reality, the nature of reality. Hopefully I didn't lose you. Again, today is 11/18/2020. That is 1, knowledge, 8, build and destroy. 1 plus 8 is 9, is born or to make manifest. The actual written interpolation, I don't know what you would call it. Today's math will be written on my website as usual, PoorRighteousTeachings.com. Peace and blessings.